Yo, what is up, YouTube people, YouTube family, if you will? So many things to talk about, so many life updates. I'm just gonna post up here at the park today and listen to this loud truck pulling into this parking lot. It's been a while since we talked, and I've made it my promise to myself to follow through on posting more content and sharing more things here, so let's talk about it. Today is what? February 6th, Friday, February 6th. I've kind of lost all concept of time and reality because Monday, January 27th, 2025 at 2:46 p.m., my baby brother died. He got in a really bad car accident while he was on his, he got in an accident with a car while he was on his motorcycle, and he died on impact. And if you've been to this, if you're an OG to the channel, you've been subscribed for a long time, or you know me personally and this is how we got here, you all know my relationship with my little brother. He was my best friend. He was the only other person that was as into nature and plants and farming and just like spirituality and Taino heritage and Taino history and all of that. He was the only other person I know that cares as much about all this stuff as I do. And I know a lot of that is because he looks up to myself and my other brothers, all his big brothers. There's little bits and pieces of each one of us that he like loved and emulated. And I'm proud to say that I know that a lot of the stuff that he was passionate about was stuff that I kind of put him onto, and he appreciated it as, you know, looking up to his big brother. So there's videos on here of like when I first started the channel, and the whole barefoot cacique thing was kind of like his thing, because him and my boyfriend Emilio love barefoot Contessa, so they were like, you're barefoot cacique, because, you know, cacique is my Instagram name, and always talking about Taino things. So that was, you know, he was a big part of this channel even being what it was. He was my biggest supporter. He was always the one encouraging me, and no matter what I was doing, he was always like, you go, like, he was always hyping me up. He was like my hype man. So like, I'd say a lot of the reason why, you know, we had our own, you know, falling out, if you will, a couple of months back. And I'd even say like when I noticed that I wasn't, you know, as far as the support and everything goes on here, I appreciate it. I love everybody who's subscribing and liking and interacting and, you know, speaking to me. But he was like he was the most important opinion to me. And like, as long as he thought I was cool, I didn't care what anybody else said. And what I've been learning over the past couple of weeks is all that really matters is what you think about yourself. And I think I have a lot to share, and I think my insight is just a nice perspective to hear, to listen, to entertain yourself with, but also to help you grow in your own processing of things and your own thoughts. And, you know, I feel like, geez, one thing YouTube is definitely teaching me is how to be clear and concise about my thoughts and like get them out before the memory runs out on my phone again. But I say all that to say that the reason why I started this channel was because I was already doing things that were deemed like unconventional, and just kind of following my heart and following my dreams and doing what it is that I thought I wanted with my life and what would make me happy. And when I say follow my dreams, like literally everything I could think about that has transpired or that is transpiring, or things that I've seen in dreams, even sitting in this park right now. Ever since I stumbled upon it, I was like, wow, I've seen this in a dream. And I would journal And when I was still living in New York and like longing to be in touch with nature the way that I am now, you know, it was outlandish when I would tell my coworkers or my friends or people that knew me, like, oh, I want to move to Florida, and they were like, this is crazy. This is like pre-COVID. But anyway, the whole point of, even if you think about YouTubers or anyone that is on YouTube or doing this, it's like a very unconventional career path, because for a lot of people it's a career path. But I feel like when you put a lot of expectation into something, it becomes something that can let you down. So I've been refocusing my life on doing things that bring me joy. And I feel like the passing of my brother definitely solidified that in my mind, that is the utmost important. Like, what is it that you're doing that makes you happy? Because although I was 1,000% against him being on a motorcycle, which was the main reason of our rift there, was because it's like, it's dangerous. It's like so freaking dangerous, and the likelihood of you not surviving an accident on a motorcycle is way greater than it is with a car. But regardless of the facts at hand, it's something that brought him joy and something he enjoyed doing. And you only get one life here, or even if you do reincarnate, you only get to live this life one time. So who am I, or who is anyone to say that you shouldn't do something because it could be dangerous? You could walk out of your front door, something could happen to you on foot. So also, because of this whole spiritual understanding that we both had or have, is that this was going to happen one way or another. He was meant to only be here but for so long. So I feel like subconsciously, and maybe even a little bit consciously, he knew his time here was limited, and he was going to live it to his fullest. So I can only pull strength and inspiration from that, because the only other option than that is to just double down on how tragic it is. But that is not really conducive for anyone in this situation. So just listening to that bird chirping in the background, and like knowing that it is a Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon, and I'm sitting at a park at the picnic tables, like able to put my feet in the grass and being barefoot cacique, and like it's all a blessing, where I was so clear and I was so focused when I initially started out on this journey and started this channel and started my CMOS business. And it was like all of those things, I was doing it because I loved it and it made me happy, not because I was trying to make a living from being the natural guy. So I feel like I have to refine that pure love, because it's still there, but I feel like what has created a rift and a disconnect is capitalism and surviving in America in the 2020s, if you will. So initially when I started making CMOS, it was for myself. Like I started making CMOS gels for myself and like sharing it with people on Instagram, and people started telling me like, hey, this looks really good, I need that, I don't want to make it, I don't want to figure it out, why don't you just sell it to me? So while working my 9-to-5 job and making $80,000 a year, I was just like, yeah, sure, you want CMOS? Why not? I was running around town with a cooler and taking people's CMOS orders throughout the week, and come Friday and Saturday, I'm dropping off CMOS to people all across the 5 boroughs. And it was like, it was such a cool experience, and I felt like Nancy Botwin of CMOS. Like I was just out here slinging the good stuff, like, and it was just like, it was a invigorating experience. So I saw how much I enjoyed doing that, and I wanted to expand on it. But then at the same time, while listening to all of these like spiritual people on Instagram and YouTube, and these like healers, these internet healers, trying to convince you that there is some type of nobility and poverty when it comes to spirituality. So if you are the spiritual person who loves nature and loves health and all this other stuff, it's like if you try to capitalize on it, you're just as bad as the white man, or you're just like, you know, just capitalist devil. And it's like, in hindsight, all of these healers and people on YouTube talking all this crazy thing are getting paid for it, and they're telling you not to monetize or do anything with these ideas or things that you do that fall under the spiritual headline or banner is like bad. And it's taken me this long to realize that that's a crock of shit. But yeah, this whole past like week and a half has really made me realize that, number one, I was caring too much about what people who I don't even know would think about what I'm doing, when I initially never cared about it to begin with. And also, I've tied my joy with things that make me money. So if it wasn't making me money, it was no longer bringing me joy, which was kind of backwards. And a little birdie just landed right there. I wish I could have moved the camera in time, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this brings me joy, and I may not get paid for posting this video, and I'm not getting paid for sitting here right now, but what I am getting paid with is joy and the connection to the things that I wanted to do. I don't work for anyone else. I work for myself. So I have the freedom and the liberty to be sitting in a park and speaking my mind to my phone and uploading it later on to share with you guys. And it's like, I'm really becoming more and more grateful for the ebbs and flows that come with that, financial ebbs and flows that come with the decisions that I've made to be free. So there's a beautiful line in a La Lupe song, which was me and my brother's, one of our favorite artists. So there's a line in the song where she says, "El que quiera azul celeste, que le cueste," which I may have said that wrong, but it basically means like, those who want sky blue, you gotta pay for it. So like, this beautiful sky, if I could get it, like these clear blue skies, if you wanna see that on a daily basis and you want this to be your life, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you that security of knowing, well, not everyone, but in my case, it resonates with me because it's for me to be able to be here in Florida and just live this life. It's not like New York where you could get a job that pays you 6 figures a year and that's just like a regular run-of-the-mill thing and it's a livable income. Florida is a completely different market, and for you to be out here and enjoy all the beauty in nature, you kind of have to have a game plan. You have to have things set up, things in motion. Like, it's not like a place where you could really just go get a job at the mall and like have your own apartment. Like the living expenses and the wages, they don't match up here. So I know that although there may be times where business is a little bit slow or the market is in its out of snowbird season, so there's less people down here, so things change. But that doesn't make the fact that I chose to be here and chose to be closer to nature and chose to just do all these wonderful things, that doesn't make it any less valuable. So if that makes any sense. So like, although I might not get the same compensation for existing that I did in New York, the existing here is the compensation, if that makes any sense. And I feel like, stay with me here, the spirituality between how you feel and what you get is evident. So the more that I felt like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm not doing something right because the money isn't, this is like, so like my self-worth is tied to how much money I'm making, and that is where I really feel like this whole thing, yet again, memory runs out on me. Jesus. So I'm just gonna end this here and get my phone memory together. But long story short, you just gotta do what makes you happy. You have to do what makes you happy, regardless of what it looks like on paper, regardless of what it looks like in your bank account. You just gotta follow your heart. So I hope that my long-winded way of saying that resonates with one of you, and we'll do more of these verbal streams of consciousness to see how it's helping ourselves. Because realistically, I appreciate y'all if you even made it to this part of the video being here, because yeah, I don't know, I go back and I watch these videos sometimes and it helps me realize, like, where was there a disconnect in what you were thinking and saying. So I love you guys. You could drop a comment and a like, subscribe if you want to hang out with this kooky reek in here just trying to figure it out. But again, I love you guys, and do something that makes you happy today.